In section 2.13, we take the drawing one step farther and we add in lines and ellipses. And so this is similar to drawing the two rectangles, but we just add in some different shapes. And I'm just going to follow the example in the textbook, which is to draw this kind of an alien-looking face. So just like with the rectangle example, we have two files we're going to be working with. First, we have the viewer, and that needs a main method. And that's where we set up our JFrame and the size of it, and then we tell it to be visible. We also are going to add our component into that, but we have to write that part first. And then the second code is this code file is the face component, and that's where we extend JComponent and draw the graphic stuff, and we'll talk about the different lines and things that we can make, okay? So let's back up, and I'll go to the viewer class. So to do this one, you're going to create a new class file, and just make sure you check the box to create a new public static void main method. And then we're going to add this in. So we do need a JFrame object, so we're going to go ahead and import javax.swing.jframe. And so we'll call our new JFrame frame, and you create it by saying frame equals new JFrame. We're going to set the size to 300 by 400, and you can add a title, an alien face. And then we need to set the default close operation exit on close so that when we hit the X in the box, the program actually stops running. Finally, at the bottom there, you want to say frame set visible true, and that allows the frame to display and draw whatever components we've handed off to it. Okay, now I've got a section commented here. We're not going to add that just yet because we need to build the component. At this point, it doesn't know what a face component is, and so it won't make any sense to the computer. So we're going to go ahead and create a new class. So go to the File menu, go to the Chapter 2 package, right-click, New Class. And on this one, you do not need a main method. We're going to call it Face Component. Uncheck that box, or make sure it's not checked for the public static void main method. In your Face Component class, these are all the ones we're going to be making use of, okay? So import all of these. Import java.awt.color, graphics 2D, rectangle, java.awt.geom, geometry, .ellipse 2D, and then java.awt.geom.line 2D. And then we need javax.swing.jpanel and javax.swing.jcomponent. All those need to come in, and it shrunk those up. That's why I didn't see those in there. Okay, so all those, you can pause this and type all those in. And I might not be using jpanel, is that right? Yeah, I'm going to remove that one. It's not needed. Not using it, so jcomponent's the only one we need there. All right, once you've got all of these imported, let's take a look at how to write the face component. So the class name is face component, and the first thing you have to do is say extends JComponent. And that way we have the ability to create a typical component that Java's used to dealing with, but we have our own version of it called face component. And JComponent has a method in there that we can take over and sort of write the instructions for, and that's called the paint component method. So public void paint component graphics G. And this is similar to the rectangle one, so we've done this before. The graphics library, the graphics 2D library is better than the original graphics one, but paint component works with graphics, so we have to do that little conversion. So we create a graphics 2D object called G2, and then we take all the information from G, which is a graphics object, and send it over as a graphics 2D object, which is called casting. So it's like we're throwing this through a mask that makes it look like a graphics 2D object. We store it in a variable called G2, which is a graphics 2D object. And now we'll use G2 and forget about G. It has all the information from G stored in it. So to create a circle shape or an ellipse, we use the ellipse 2D class, and it has a class within a class, which is weird, but it's ellipse 2D.double. And that refers to the fact that it's using double precision data inside of it. So you don't need to know any more than that. Just call it ellipse2d.double, and we'll name it head because this is going to be the head of the alien. And that equals a new ellipse2d.double with these starting values. And this is similar to the way that you construct a rectangle, only instead of, it's got a starting x and y value for the corner, top left corner. But what we're describing is the bounding box. So if you picture a circle and you drew a rectangle shape around it that touched each side, we're describing the bounding box, and it's going to calculate the circle that fits inside of that. So it is exactly like setting up a rectangle. 5 and 10 are the x and y. 100 and 150 are the width and height. And then we say G2, draw the head object, which is this ellipse. Okay. Similar to the way we set up an ellipse, we can use the same procedure to set up a line 2d.double, and we're going to name this one I1 because it's going to represent the first eye of the alien, equals a new line 2d.double. And in this one, it's different. We're setting up a starting point and an ending point. So this is x and y for the start, and this is x and y for the end, and it draws a line between those 2 points. And then we say G2, draw I1. We set up another one, line 2d double I2, equals new line 2d double, and here's x and y for the start, and here's x and y for the end. And then we tell G2 to draw that one. Finally, for the mouth, we'll use a rectangle, and you know how to set up rectangles, but we're going to set up the color to be red. So G2.setColor, color.red in all caps, that's a predefined color. And then we say G2 fill mouth. And it's going to fill it with whatever color G2 is currently set to. Next, G2 set color to blue, and then we draw a string, which is text. You say G2 draw string, and you give it the string of text you want it to type, and then you give it the x and y coordinates of the base point. So picture a little point at the bottom left corner of your text, and that's where it's going to go. It's going to write on that line. Okay, so that is the code to draw an alien face. The key things to remember are you can create ellipses by using ellipse2d.double, give it a name, and then use the new keyword to create a new one, x1, y1, and x2, y2. You can use line 2d.double to create lines, and give it a name and set it equal to a new line 2d.double with x1, y1, and x2, y2. And that's basically it. You can set the color of the G2 object before you do any drawing, and whatever the color is at that moment, it'll do that color. And you can fill shapes with the color using the fill action. And you do text like that, set a color, and then draw a string with an x and y coordinate for the string. So I'm going to go back over to my face viewer, and this is where we set up the frame. And now I just need to create a new face component and tell my frame to add the component. And it understands what these are now. That's why I could uncomment it, because we have a face component class that's finished. So now if I run this, there in the window is our alien face. Okay? The text is blue, the mouth is a red rectangle. And so just to demonstrate, I can change the color on these lines real quick. If we just go to, copy this here, and right before I draw I1, I'll change the color. And now we get red eyes. Everything below this point, now that the color's been set, is going to be red. You can pick a different color for the second eye. And we can make it green. And there you go. Okay, that is how you draw a bunch of faces, ellipses and lines and text. And with that, you should be able to answer the self-check questions on page 70. And that is the end of chapter 2.